starting at the bottom of this hour. But before we get there, we begin, as we always do, with Erin's rundown of what happened while we were away.
What happened while we were away, brought to you by the dam, is starting to break. Both the Canadian provinces of Alberta and Saskatchewan announced yesterday they're ending all COVID restrictions, including vaccine passports and masking. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Castro is starting to flail a bit in the face of the truckers, saying his country needs more restrictions so his country doesn't have to face more restrictions.
I can understand frustrations with mandates, but mandates are the way to avoid further restrictions.
Prime Minister Castro is facing ultra-rare dissension amongst his Liberal Party ranks. This is Liberal Minister of Parliament Joel Lightbound.
On Radio-Canada, an interview with what seemed to be a very kind grandmother who demonstrated for her grandkids. She looked and sounded nothing like a white supremacist. Nor did the Black, Sikh, and Indigenous Canadians I saw demonstrating on my way to Parliament these last 2 weeks, or in Quebec City this last Saturday. I have enough respect for my fellow Canadians not to engage in these easy and absurd labels.
Meanwhile, in Ottawa, we remind you that police recently confiscated fuel that truckers were relying upon to run their big rigs. Well, a bunch of people showed up on the streets yesterday, each of them carrying at least one jerry can. Some were filled with fuel, some were empty, making it absolutely impossible for police to crack down on them. In Florida, Ron DeSantis has some words for Democrat politicians who just recently had a change of heart in regards to masking.
You start to see them kind of reevaluate or say all this, just understand this. The science didn't change. Well, the medical science didn't change. The political science changed. They feel the heat. They know that voters have been tired of perpetual lockdown policies. They know that they have basically offered no off-ramp, and they know that they're fixing to get whooped at the polls. And so that's what's causing the epiphany.
The country of South Korea has dropped its once innovative test and trace strategy after the country recently set a record high of daily COVID cases. About 64% of that population has received a third shot of one of the COVID jabs. Checking in on the schools, our friend Shannon Joy posted this video from a Webster, New York school district meeting of private security assaulting and removing a parent from the meeting for reasons.
Look at this. Look at this. Look. What are you doing? What the are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Is this how you treat our children? What are you doing?
Do you put your hands on the
Holy
children like
crap.
that, sir?
In Georgia, a whistleblower disseminated a document to the media purportedly showing a list compiled by school administrators at the Independent Lovett School of parents who administrators say have, quote, too much influence and who, quote, disgust them. In Loudoun County, Virginia, that school board was served with baskets full of affidavits at their latest meeting last night. The district is attempting to keep masking kids in schools despite Governor Youngkin's order, which was also upheld in court. Teachers Union boss Randy Weingarten says, screw the Democrats in the midterms.
What's the argument against taking off masks in schools?
The real issue becomes, is the spread low enough so that there's no dissemination or transmission in schools? And it's not the teachers transmitting to kids. It's more kids, particularly in elementary schools right now.
Checking in on Ditch McConnell.
Well, let me give you my view of what happened January the 6th. And we're here. We saw what happened. It was a violent insurrection.
Two Texas congressmen, Louis Gohmert and Troy Neal, say U.S. Capitol Police have engaged in spying, breaking into their offices when they weren't there, and in one case dressing as construction workers and photographing sensitive documents.
All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
The Department of Justice recently announced they'll likely not prosecute so-called safe injection sites for hard drugs. In addition, the Biden administration just announced they're funding a program to hand out free crack pipes to crack and meth users. And finally, a public service announcement from the CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services. At the Department Department of Health and Human Services, our top two priorities are science, science, and safety. Hello, I'm Dr. Nels Ladyman, chairwoman of the HHS's Safe Hard Drug Injection Site Task Force, here with a public service announcement for all crackheads, crack hosts, smackheads, bong kings, smoke hounds, tweakers, and Hunter Biden. With the Department of Justice's recent indication they will not prosecute safe injection sites for hard drugs, it's easy to be elated at this wonderful news. HHS-approved crack and meth pipes should be arriving at underpasses near you very soon with a fresh stash of clean needles. But it's important to remain vigilant in the face of a deadly pandemic that's killed over 900,000 people in our country alone. So we humbly ask you, next time you take your next fat rip off of your favorite crack or blue meth, please remember to only remove your mask when inhaling and then place it back over your nose when exhaling like so. Together, we can keep you, me, and our entire country safe. And that's what happened while we were away. Mom, if you're watching, that's why I asked you if you had a crack pipe on my way out the door this morning.
I did not know that was coming, which made it even grander. But it was well worth it.